sit back and relax, because I'm about to tell you about the first Star Wars action figure line. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with a whole new video. What are we going to talk about today? Well, to be honest, the title's a little misleading. I said we're going to talk about the forgotten first Star Wars action figure line. Well, that's technically not true. We're going to look at a series of action figures released by Arco before Star Wars, trying to capitalize on the success of the film before Kenner could get toys to the market. These toys were called Space Wars.
Excuse me, Junkman.
What, Wampa?
The YouTube channel Toy Galaxy has already done a video on these.
I'm sorry, I can't do every video new. Some things have been talked about before. Sorry, but did he tell you about the lawsuit? Did he tell you about the $1 million fine? No, I didn't think he told you all about that. Sorry about that. Larry gets a little evil sometime. Okay, now let's talk about the space. What is it now?
This isn't very original, Junkman.
Okay, I'm sorry. Every topic I cover is going to be something that someone's probably already talked about. But did he show you the unproduced figures, or did he just talk about the release stuff?
No.
That's what I thought. So, let's go back to 1978
Excuse me,
and look at
Junkman.
Arco. What is it, Larry?
Their video has over 3,000 views. People already heard this.
Again, I can't help it somebody's already talked about something, but I bet you he didn't tell you about the board games and the dart guns.
No, I don't think he did that.
So,
Carry on.
thank you. Now, can I get back to talking to the good people here about Space Wars? Before we get started, as always, support us on Patreon. Click up there and go to Patreon's website. For as little as $2 a month, you can help support this channel, and you can help feed Larry the Wampa over there. I know you want to do that, although I'm not sure if he really deserves food sometime. If you want to support this channel another way, head over to thatjunkman.com, where we got a lot of cool t-shirts. Now, a lot of YouTubers are just going to throw up t-shirts with their face on it. And we got some junk shirts also that's related to the site, but we also got some exclusive Star Wars, Space Giants, Kenner, all kinds of t-shirts there. I'm wearing one today. It's my Space Giant shirt. But you're not here to hear me talk about my Space Giant shirt, but you're here to hear me talk about the first Star Wars action figure line, Space Wars. So let's get to it. In 1978, Hong Kong toy company Arco, if that's how you pronounce it, if not, sorry, decided they would jump on the Star Wars craze and try to get Star Wars-like action figures to the toy shelf before Kenner could. These figures didn't really look like the action figures we're used to with Star Wars, but they did kind of look like they were based on characters from Star Wars, a little bit. These figures mostly showed up at stores like Kmart and nickel and dime stores, which today you kids probably call dollar stores. But they also showed up in an exclusive package for Woolworths.
Like inflation never happened at Woolworth now.
Again, these figures didn't really look like Kenner Star Wars action figures. They looked more like the Playmobil action figures than Star Wars action figures. They looked cheap, and they were cheap. But that's how they were able to get onto the market a few months before Kenner's Star Wars line. As the Arco stockholders popped champagne bottles, and stores were happy to have something Star Wars kind of related on the toy shelves, not everyone was happy. Who wasn't happy? You guessed it, Mr. George Lucas, Lucasfilms, 20th Century Fox, and Kenner. They all came together to sue the toy company to get the toys out of the toy stores. And they asked for $1 million in damages.
$1 million.
In June 1978, federal court judge Irving Hill ruled that Arco must stop making Space War action figures, because it went against a copyright deal between 20th Century Fox and Kenner, or General Mills at the time. 20th Century Fox and Kenner also said that they lost sales due to these other Star Wars action figures and asked for $1 million. However, the judge ruled that that would be decided later if Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox, wanted to bring that up later. I can't find any information that any of the companies went forward with that lawsuit to get the $1 million. Most of the time, if you were sued for trying to rip off Star Wars, once they got the toy or item pulled from the store, Lucasfilm, Fox, and Kenner kind of left you alone, and I believe that's what they did here. The figures were taken out of the stores, and the company ceased production.
and stay out of the Woolworth.
So let's look at these first Star Wars action figures and even some that didn't get released. First up, we had R2-D2. It comes with a lightsaber, a space sword, a space gun, a TV walkie-talkie, a mechanical arm, and a TV camera. TV camera. Not really sure, but I guess it was cheap to make. As you can see here, it doesn't really look that much like R2-D2, but you can kind of see that that's what they were going for. Let's look at Chewbacca. Chewbacca came with a space gun, a TV walkie-talkie, a mechanical arm, and a space pack. What's the difference between a regular backpack and a space pack? Can't really tell you. I guess it's to hold your asteroids in. That's funny. Larry, you have to admit that was a good one right there. Oh, anyway. Okay, that's Chewbacca, and it looks a little bit like Chewbacca, but you got to really kind of squint your eyes to make it look like Chewbacca. So let's talk about the Stormtrooper. This one here came with the TV camera, another TV walkie-talkie, and that arm thing and that same space gun. So we have the Stormtrooper ripoff. Again, you can kind of see what they're going for, but it doesn't really look that much like a Stormtrooper. So let's look at one of the other droids, C-3PO. And what does he come with? That TV thing, a space gun, an arm, and that walkie-talkie. Oh, excuse me, the TV walkie-talkie. So we got the lovable droids, but who else did we get? You guessed it, Darth Vader. Now, I haven't given names to any of these figures because these figures didn't have names. Nowhere on the package did it say Darth Vader or some name that sounded like Darth Vader, like Garth Vader or anything that sounded like Darth Vader. No, they didn't have any names on them. But let's take a closer look at the would-be Darth Vader. We can see here Darth Vader comes with a lightsaber, a space sword, a space gun, the mechanical arm thing, and this time something different, a shield. And to round off the figures, we got two different Luke Skywalkers. Some of you might be saying, hey, maybe it's Han Solo, but the figures are basically the same, and you can kind of tell that we're going for a Luke Skywalker look. Let's look at the first Luke Skywalker. This one came with, you guessed it, a TV walkie-talkie, that gun, that arm, that sword, and the same space pack. But like I said, there were two Luke Skywalkers, and this second Luke Skywalker actually has a name. And his name? Space Kid. What does Space Kid come with? Can you believe it? New stuff! He came with a helmet, a metal detector. That's right, a metal detector. A space gun, an oxygen tank, and a jet rover. As you can see from the picture, this one also looks nothing like Luke Skywalker. Now, let's talk about what didn't get released, and that was a gift set of 3 action figures. In this set, we have the Chewbacca figure, the Stormtrooper, and C-3PO. Again, this 3-pack was never released. Not only did you have these action figures, you had playsets for them. Well, playsets is kind of using the term loosely. Let's look at the playset. The Space Wars Galaxy Control Room came with 33 pieces. Looks like it came with 33 pieces of junk if you ask me. As you can see here, there wasn't much of a playset here, except a couple of figures and some little pieces. And it looks like nothing from the Star Wars movies. But they also released games, so let's take a look at some of the games. There was a Space War toy game, released in either blue or red gun. And the blue gun was sold in 2 different packages. One with it angled, and the other, it wasn't. The guns came with a metal target. On a side note, between 1976 and 1979, Argo's dart gun would always appear on the top 10 most dangerous toy list for kids. The gun was also released without the metal target. Also released a sparkling space pistol that came with sparkling action. And that's a look at the toy guns. So let's look at the games they made under the brand Space War. First up, the Light Up Target game. Man, I don't know about you, but that's a great name for a game. I wonder how they came up with that. This came with a gun, 3 darts, a game board, and had 5 light-up spaceship targets, an automatic reset button. Yes, an automatic reset button. And a scorekeeper. And the scorekeeper is just a little piece of plastic you slide up and down. The other game was yet another gun game. These guys really love their dart guns. This came with a spring target, moving knockdown targets, 4 safety darts. Yeah, safety darts, right. And a wind-up key motor. Wow, a key motor, kids.
Are we having fun yet?
Looking at these toys, I have to wonder if the judge was in the pocket of 20th Century Fox or Kenner, because they really don't look like Star Wars toys. Now you can argue that the Stormtrooper figure or maybe the Chewbacca looks a little like them. I don't think it looks enough like them to get them pulled from toy shelves and to end up in court. If you ask me, and just my opinion, Arco got screwed. Anyway, that's a look at the first forgotten Star Wars action figure line. I hope you learned something new here. That's always my job, to teach you something you didn't know about. And I want to thank you for watching. Larry, you got anything you want to add?
I have ice cold diarrhea.
I don't think they really cared to know any of that information, but thank you anyway. Thank you for watching. We'll be back very soon.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.